language that's used on the web. It's used for a lot of web applications on the front end. So things like web games, you have a lot of simple little widgets that are built in JavaScript and then integrated into a page. But it's a really great language. It's very, very commonly used commercially, and it's very flexible. So you're able to do things like game development, which is what we're going to focus on today, but it's also useful for a lot of other things in internet application development. All right, so I'm just going to jump on our Code High School. So remember, go to Code High School, and you guys already have these assignments all given to you. So we have all of these assignments that we're going to try and do. Only a certain number of them are actually achievable, right? So we're only going to be able to do so much as a class. I'll be tracking your progress, so as you guys look at it, you guys will be able to see your progress here. So what I'm going to do first to start out is I am going to get through top-down design and decomposition, I think, today. So first I'm going to take the little quiz here, the JavaScript pretest. And let's just go ahead. Oh, I am in the student view. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to resume. Okay. I am confident that I can use computer science. I'm pretty confident. I am 100% going to use this in my future career. I think it's interesting. Okay, so this is an opinion quiz. I was hoping that we might be able to get some questions. Oh, so we have a little bit of math here. Okay, so 3 plus 5 times 6, 30. Remember PEMDAS. So 3 plus 30, that's 33, minus 4, that's going to be 29. Okay. X is going to be less than or equal to 6. This should be pretty easy for you guys being seniors. Ooh, so we have 6 circles, so it's 15 by 10. The radius of each circle. So each circle has a diameter, right, that 2 circles reach across. And so the diameter is the full length, and the full length can be 2 of them will go across the whole square, so that's going to be 5 units. Ooh, I answered wrong. Radius, I was thinking diameter, but it wants the radius. So Carol's going to move 1, 2, 3 spaces. And then if Carol is standing on a ball, which Carol is, turn right and move forward 2 spaces. There we go. Okay, so here we are getting into some code, right? So these last, oh my gosh, there's a lot of questions here. Okay. So sum equals 0. So the var sum equals 0. So we start with sum being 0, and then for I equals 0. Or sorry, there's some variable I. So this is called an iterator here, right? So this is a different loop than what you see in Swift. This is also a little bit different from Python. This is very much similar to the way that you'd see it in C. So for var I equals 0, so we have some variable I, which is initialized as 0. As long as I is less than 5, I plus plus means that we're going to increase I by 1. So that'll loop through 5 times, because 0, right? And then it becomes 1. 1 is less than 5. 2 is less than 5. 3 is less than 5. 4 is less than 5. And then when it hits the next one, it goes, is 5 less than 5? No. So it won't iterate again. So we're left with 5 iterations. So we're going to say 0 plus I. That's going to be, so that's going to be 0, right? And then the next iteration, it adds 1. So that's 1. 1 plus 2, that's 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. And then 6 plus 4 is 10. Let's see if that's right. Here we go. This is very similar. So this format is similar to how you'd see, like, if you guys end up wanting a computer science job, they'll do little tests like this. Not quite this simple, but this is just a logic thing. Okay, and then this is also, you have var temp, right? So x equals y and y equals temp. You started as x equals 4, y equals 6, var equals x, right? So temp is actually 4 at that point in time. So then you say x equals y, so now x is 6, and then y is going to be 4. So you see we did a swap of those two numbers there. Okay, and I'm just going to skip the rest of this quiz. I want you guys to finish it, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip it because I think that it'll be much more interesting for us to go on to the actual lesson itself. So I'm just going to do this very first lesson, and then I'm going to call it a day. So let's go ahead and watch the video.
Hi, welcome to the first CodeHS video. In this video, we're going to introduce you to programming with Carol the dog. So who or what is this Carol? Well, Carol is a dog who listens to your commands, and here I have a picture of Carol. So, and what do we do exactly with this Carol? Well, we can move around Carol's world and put down tennis balls. So let's take a look at Carol's world. Carol lives in a grid world where each dot represents a location that Carol can be at. And Carol can move around this world and put down tennis balls. But more specifically, what can Carol do? Well, Carol knows only 4 commands: move, turn left, put ball, and take ball. Move moves Carol 1 spot in the direction that he's facing. Turn left rotates Carol 90 degrees to the left. Put ball adds 1 ball in the spot that Carol's at, and take ball removes 1 ball. So let's dissect a Carol command. What exactly do you need to write? Well, first, it must be one of those 4 words that Carol knows. There are no spaces in the commands. You need to match the capitalization exactly, and each command needs to end in open parentheses, close parentheses, semicolon, so that Carol can understand it. So the best way to learn how to program and the best way to dive into Carol is just by doing it. So we're going to write our first Carol program, which starts in the world on the left, with Carol in the bottom left corner facing east, and ends in the world on the right, where Carol has moved 2 spots, put down a tennis ball, and then moved 2 more. Now it's your turn to try writing your own Carol program.
Okay, so as you saw, our commands are pretty simple. So this is kind of a back to basics approach. We're just learning about kind of this language in general here. So when we're looking at these commands, right, we know that he said that we needed our parentheses and our semicolon at the end. And then let's move on to an exercise. Explore this example. Okay, so this is the example that he showed us, right? So I'm just going to turn up the, well, let's just leave it here, right? So this is our program, right? We put the ball and then we moved. So that's just the example that he already ran through. Okay, so, and this is our first assignment, right? So our assignment is write a program that has him move to the tennis ball and pick it up, right? So one of the things that we can remember is that we also have our docs over here. So if you ever forget anything, just come over here and look at the docs. Because you can also see there's all kinds of really, really handy things that it's going to tell you about Carol programming over here. And Carol is just a exercise box built in JavaScript. So all of these commands are based on the way that you would write them in JavaScript. This is just a more simplistic exercise. So it looks like I'm going to have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, and then take the ball. So I'm going to do move. Oh, let's. I'm going to need to do that 4 times. And then I'm going to have to take the ball. All right, and then let's go ahead and run it. All right, let's submit and see if that's correct. Perfect. So now we know how to take the ball in Carol programming. Okay, so my new assignment is that I should have him create a stack of tennis balls, right? Move to one spot and then put down 2 tennis balls and then move again. So I want to move. Then I want to put ball. Oh, and I misspelled put there. Remember, capitalization is important, so that capital B is essential. And then I want to move again. This is a case called camel case, right? We've previously learned a little bit about snake case, which we used in Python. When you guys were programming that, this is just a different way, a different convention for writing your code. All right, and that's actually the end of lesson 1. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to do some moral Carol basics, I think. In this part, I'm not super happy about this. I'm actually going to be a lot happier when we get through this unit. Let's go back to my courses and look at video game design. So a lot of you guys are already familiar with programming. There's a reason that you're in this class, right? And we've already done some Python, and we've done a little bit of the Godot. So if this programming with Carol stuff is too basic for you, just go ahead and move on to this second unit here, because all of this is going to be using Carol. So I'm actually going to remove this for you guys, because I really am not that interested in having you guys program with Carol. I think you guys can understand what is going on here. So, and I'll leave it up for now, but I'll make an announcement. I'm probably going to remove this programming with Carol, and we're going to move on to JavaScript. Because I'm much, much more interested in just getting straight into JavaScript. So yeah, I'm going to make an announcement, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete this right now. And take this out of there. And so that's my teacher view. So yeah, so you guys should be starting with this JavaScript and graphics, and let's go ahead and jump in there. Let's go ahead and resume.
Hi, in this video we are going to write our first basic JavaScript program. And so, as is traditional with learning many programming languages, the first thing you want to be able to do is print something out on the screen. And also traditionally, the first thing you will print is hello world, showing that you've gotten your program running. So we're going to start off with the code on the left, and we'll write function start, like we usually do. And the first thing we're going to do is print out a line. So we'll write print ln, open parentheses, open quotes, and then hello world. So what we've done here is we've made a call to a function called println, and we're passing it this argument hello world. So note that this text is in between the double quotes. And if we run this, there you have it. That is our first program. And so we can write hello world, but maybe we can write something else. So let's write my name is Jeremy. So if I run this program, we see that we have something else printed out.
Okay, so it looks like this is a pretty standard.
And then we can print line again and say our first JavaScript program, and that is print line.
So we're just going to run through this print line program here. Remember, and this is very similar to if any of you have ever done Java. Java uses println as well, or print line. So this should feel pretty familiar for you. So one of the things that we notice that's similar to other languages that we've already explored is that there is a function definition, right? We have a function declaration right here. We have the function name is start, and then we have this println, okay? So what I'm wondering about is, can we get access to the background of this? And I think that the answer is no for now. But it's kind of weird to me that this is running right now. So let's see if we make a call to start here as well. Or let's, I think that the, oh, dang it. Okay. Okay, so plan is Mr. Fox. I like to hike. Okay. Let's run the code and let's see if it'll work. Okay, cool. And now I just want to do something real quick here. Let's see if I make a call to start, what happens. Okay, so that makes sense. So this function declaration, the way that we've been learning, it shouldn't work yet, right? Like we've seen this kind of thing before. You shouldn't be able to declare a function and then immediately it get used, right? You should have to make a call to it. And it looks like you are able to do that. And they're just going to reveal that to us later. Okay. All right, and then we're quickly going to run through variables. So let's look at the variables quiz, and then that'll be all that I do today.
Hi, in this video we're going to introduce variables in JavaScript. So the first question is, what is a variable? Well, a variable is like a box with a name that can hold a value. So here I have a variable called numapples with the value 5. That represents that I have 5 apples. So there are a few important stages in working with variables, and the first is declaring a variable. And declaring a variable means that you're making space for it. It's like saying, I hereby make a box called numapples. And you notice, though, that declaring a variable doesn't actually put a value there. And the way you declare a variable is you write var, and then space, and then the name of the variable. So var numapples. The next part is initializing a variable. And initializing a variable creates the variable and sets its initial value. So here we write var numapples is equal to 5. And that creates a box called numapples and puts the value 5 in it. The next part is assigning to a variable. And assigning to a variable is like changing its value. So for example, in this first line, we initialize numapples with the value 5. And so 5 is in the box. But then, on this next line, we write numapples is equal to 0, and that changes the value. And there are three basic types of variables that we'll be working
Oh,
with.
that's interesting.
The numbers, booleans, and strings. So the first is the numeric type. The first type of the numeric type is integers. And so integers are like whole numbers, and those can be used to count. So for example, var num apples is equal to 5. The next type is floats. And floats are like real numbers and can have decimal points. So for example, var cost is equal to 40.25. The next type is the Boolean type. And the Boolean type has only two values, true or false. So the next type is the string type, and we use the string. So when we name our variables in JavaScript, there are a few rules. The name must start with a letter, or a $sign, or an underscore. The rest of the name can have variable names. So if I write var myvar, that's not legal because we have a space in that name. Or if I write var 8-ball location, descriptive, and it's also lower camel case, meaning the first word starts with a print line name. And run this program, we'll see that it prints out Jeremy apples equal
So this is pretty
5.
straightforward.
So this of variables in JavaScript.
So before we move on, I just want to talk about one thing. You guys, this is a weakly typed language, and that's very, very weakly typed, meaning you don't have to declare what type of variable it is. You just have to say it's a variable, and then it's done, right? It will try and interpret what you are putting into it and make the appropriate type decision. That can be a good thing, and that can be a bad thing. The good thing about a weakly typed language is that you're much less likely to make mistakes with it because you're less likely to create a situation where you're using two different types and then the program won't work. It'll automatically use the correct type. The disadvantage is that sometimes you can make some really big problems, like really big bugs occur with that kind of programming. So then var was the keyword. Find it interesting that they use an abbreviation var for the variable keyword, but they use the entire word function for the function keyword. This is the worst view of my face down here on my webcam. All right. Okay, an example from the lesson. Okay, my name is Joe. This is nice, right? I can just say plus name, plus apples, plus num apples. And I already clicked on continue. Okay, so let's do the exercise. Okay, our assignment is to print out 20 apples and 15 oranges, then print how many that you have. So, function, we're going to have a var called num apples. And I'm just going to see if this will work. Var num apples is equal to 20. Var num oranges is equal to 15. And then a couple of printlns. I'm a little tired today. I'm sorry, guys. Normally I'm a little bit more peppy than this. Might also be a bad time to do a stream. I've been choosing 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock is about nap time. All right, and then it wants us to set it back to 0. Oh, and I don't need to redeclare here. See, that would be a mistake. Would be to say var. I just need to say oranges and apples, and then we're going to go ahead and print these again. All right, let's see if it likes it. Oh, I've made mistakes, right? In JavaScript, I need every line to end in a semicolon. It's a little bit different than Python, which you guys have previously used. All right, let's see if it likes it. There we go. All right, cool. So that's lessons 1 and 2. I'm a little tired right now, so I'm actually going to go ahead and call it a day. I will continue on from lesson 3. So I will make an announcement on Google Classroom. You guys should be starting with the, well, I mean, now it's the only thing to start with, right, is the JavaScript stuff. Yep, there we go. There we go. So I'm going to be streaming on Friday. I will be streaming whatever game I end up playing. I will probably play something like Stardew Valley, or I will find a PC game that I can play and stream. I have not figured out how to hook up my Xbox for this, but if I do, then I may play The Outer Worlds, because that's what I've been playing recently. But thank you guys for joining me, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, your first assignment, you're going to work on this JavaScript and graphics, and I want you guys to do hello world and variables like I just did, and then also you can move on and start doing these other things. Now, what will get really interesting is if we can get to some of these games, right? I really am excited about Breakout, so that's what I'm hoping that we get to soon. All right, have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.